The Galactic Council sat in their grand chamber, its walls made of shining metal and crystal that reflected the light of distant stars. The room was filled with beings from many different planets, each species unique in their appearance. Some were tall and covered in scales, others small and covered in fur, but they all shared the same concern. The name humans had been spoken more and more often in their meetings, and today was no different. The Council was the most powerful group in the galaxy, made up of representatives from the most advanced civilizations. They had ruled for thousands of years, guiding the galaxy and maintaining peace. But now there was a new problem: humans. Humans had only recently become part of the galactic stage. Compared to the other species, they were young, barely a blink in time. But in that short time, humans had grown fast. They had created technology that took other species thousands of years to develop. They had explored and colonized distant planets, building their empire with a speed that shocked everyone. Today, the Council gathered to discuss this growing problem. At the center of the room, the leader of the Council, an old and wise alien named Zalor, called the meeting to order. Zalor's deep voice echoed through the chamber as he spoke. "We must talk about the humans. They have advanced too quickly, and we do not fully understand how. Some of us are worried about what they could become." There were murmurs of agreement from many in the room. One of the council members, a large insect-like creature named Torak, stood up. "Humans are a threat," he said. "They are unpredictable and dangerous. They have no respect for the order we have kept in the galaxy for so long. If we don't act now, they could soon challenge us for control." A small, bird-like alien named Vela shook her head. "But we don't even know their full potential," she said. "They may be fast learners, but they are still new to the galaxy. Why should we be afraid of them? They haven't shown any sign of aggression toward the Council." Torak slammed his fist on the table. "Not yet," he growled. "But it's only a matter of time. They are growing too quickly. We can't trust them. We need to take action now before it's too late." Another council member, an ancient being with glowing eyes named Cyrus, spoke calmly. "The humans have done nothing to threaten us directly. We should not act out of fear. Perhaps they are just lucky, or maybe they have found a way to use old technology. We need to understand them before we decide on any action." The room grew tense as more voices joined the debate. Some council members agreed with Torak, believing that humans were a danger that needed to be dealt with. Others, like Vela and Cyrus, thought it was too early to make any moves against. The conversation grew louder, with members arguing over the fate of humanity. Finally, Zalor raised his hand, and the room fell silent. "We do not act without reason," he said firmly. "But the speed of the humans' growth is concerning. We need more information before we make a decision. I propose we invite a delegation of humans to the Council. We will meet with them, speak with them, and see what they are truly capable of. Only then can we decide if they are a threat or not." There was a moment of silence as the members of the Council considered Zalor's words. Slowly, heads began to nod in agreement. It was decided the humans would be invited to meet with the Galactic Council. As the meeting ended and the council members left the chamber, there was still unease in the air. Some were excited to meet the humans and see what they could offer, but others, like Torak, were still filled with fear. They couldn't shake the feeling that something about the humans was different. Unknown to the council, their concerns were not unfounded. The humans were hiding something powerful, something that no other species in the galaxy could even imagine. And soon they would show it. The day had finally come. The Galactic Council, known for its power and control over the galaxy, was about to meet the humans face to face. In the grand chamber of the Council, representatives from many different species gathered, their eyes fixed on the large doors where the human delegation would enter. The air was filled with tension and curiosity. Whispers spread through the room as the aliens discussed the humans. Some had never seen one before, while others had only heard rumors. The humans were a mystery, and the Council wanted to understand how such a young species had advanced so quickly. Torak, the large insect-like council member, sat in his seat, his many eyes fixed on the door. He had warned everyone about the humans and still believed they were dangerous. "This is a mistake," he growled under his breath. "We should have acted sooner." Vela, the small bird-like alien sitting next to him, heard his comment and shook her head. "You're always so quick to assume the worst, Torak," she replied softly. "Let's at least see what they have to say before jumping to conclusions." Suddenly, the large doors at the front of the chamber opened with a loud creak, and the room fell silent. Everyone turned to look as the humans entered. There were 5 of them, walking confidently toward the center of the room. They wore sleek, dark uniforms, and their faces showed no fear. Leading the group was a tall man with sharp eyes and a calm expression. This was the human ambassador, Captain Mark Davis. The council members watched closely as the humans took their place in the center of the room. Some were surprised by how normal they looked, 2 arms, 2 legs, and no strange features. Others were suspicious of their calmness. There was something different about the way they carried themselves, something that made the other species uneasy. Zaylor, the wise leader of the council, stood up and addressed the humans. His voice echoed through the grand chamber. "Welcome, humans. We are glad you accepted our invitation. We have been watching your rapid rise in the galaxy with great interest. We are curious about how your young species has achieved so much in such a short time." Captain Davis smiled politely and gave a slight bow. "Thank you for inviting us," he said in a calm, steady voice. "We are honored to be here. Humanity values peace and cooperation, and we are eager to work with the Council to ensure a better future for all." The Council members exchanged glances. Captain Davis seemed confident, perhaps too confident. Some of the aliens whispered among themselves, wondering if the humans were hiding something. Torak couldn't stay silent any longer. He stood up and pointed one of his many claws at the humans. "You speak of peace, human, but your actions say otherwise. Your species has expanded faster than anyone else in the galaxy. What are you hiding? How did you develop your technology so quickly?" "We demand answers!" Captain Davis remained calm in the face of Torak's accusation. He looked around the room, his sharp eyes meeting the gaze of each council member. "We have nothing to hide," he said firmly. "Humanity is driven by a desire to explore, to grow, and to learn. Our advancements are the result of hard work, innovation, and determination." Cyrus, the ancient council member with glowing eyes, spoke next. His voice was calm but curious. "It is true that your species has achieved much in a short time. Some of us find it unusual. Are you certain there is nothing more to your rapid rise? No secrets?" Captain Davis smiled again, this time with a hint of mystery in his eyes. "We are willing to share what we can with the Council," he said. "But there are some things about humanity that are difficult to explain." The room grew tense as the council members tried to understand what he meant. What was he hinting at? Was there more to the humans than they were letting on? Vela leaned forward, her small eyes narrowing. "What do you mean by difficult to explain? Are you hiding something from us?" Davis looked directly at her, his expression still calm, but his voice now more serious. "Let's just say that humanity has learned things about the universe that others might find surprising. If the Council wishes, we are prepared to offer a demonstration." The chamber was filled with silence. "A demonstration? What could the humans possibly show that would surprise the most advanced species in the galaxy?" Zalor's eyes narrowed as he looked at Davis. "Very well," he said slowly. "We accept your offer. Show us what your species is truly capable of." Captain Davis nodded, his calm expression never changing. "As you wish," he said quietly. And with that, the humans prepared to reveal their greatest secret. The Galactic Council chamber was filled with nervous energy as Captain Mark Davis stepped forward. The council members watched him closely, unsure of what was about to happen. Captain Davis had offered a demonstration, something that could explain why humans had risen so quickly in the galaxy. No one knew what to expect, but everyone was on edge. Captain Davis stood tall in the center of the room, his calm eyes scanning the faces of the council members. The human delegation behind him remained still, silent, and confident. There was something about their behavior that made the aliens uneasy. They had never seen a species act with such quiet power. Zaylor, the leader of the council, leaned forward, his deep voice echoing through the chamber. "You have our attention, human," he said. "Show us what your species is capable of." Captain Davis gave a small nod. "Very well," he said. "But I must warn you, what you are about to see is something no other species in the galaxy has ever experienced. Humans have discovered something unique, something that gives us an advantage unlike anything you've ever seen." The council members exchanged worried glances. Some of them, like Torak, were already suspicious of humans. Now with this mysterious talk, their fear only grew stronger. Torak's many eyes narrowed as he watched Davis closely. "This better not be a trick, human," he hissed. Ignoring the tension in the room, Captain Davis raised his hand and motioned to the human delegation. One of his team members stepped forward and activated a small device on their wrist. A soft hum filled the air as the device began to glow with a bright light. "What you are about to witness," Davis said, his voice steady, "is the ability to control time." The moment the words left his mouth, the air in the room seemed to shift. Suddenly, everything around the humans froze. The council members, the lights, even the sound in the room, all of it stopped in an instant. The entire chamber was frozen in time, except for the humans, who moved freely within the stillness. Captain Davis walked calmly around the frozen council members, studying their motionless forms. His team moved with him, inspecting the room as if they had all the time in the world. In reality, they did. Time itself was no longer a barrier to them. The council members, frozen in place, could not move or speak. They were trapped, locked in a single moment, unable to understand what had just happened. It was as if the entire universe had paused, leaving only the humans in control. Davis glanced at his team and gave a small nod. "Let's take it back a little," he said. With another command from the wrist device, time began to reverse. The council members moved backward, their words, gestures, and movements playing in reverse like a broken record. The humans watched as the scene from a few minutes ago unfolded in reverse order. Then, with a snap, Davis allowed time to resume its normal flow. The council members gasped in shock as they realized what had just happened. To them, only a second had passed, but in that second, they had witnessed the impossible. They had been frozen in time, controlled by the humans as if they were nothing more than pieces on a chessboard. Torak jumped to his feet, his voice filled with rage and fear. "What is this sorcery?" he yelled. "How can you control time itself? This is madness." Vela, the small bird-like alien, looked around, her eyes wide with fear. "How is this possible?" she whispered. "No species should have this kind of power." Captain Davis remained calm, his voice steady as he spoke. "Humans have unlocked a secret that no other species has. We have learned to manipulate time, to bend it to our will. This is how we have advanced so quickly. Time is no longer our enemy, it is our ally." Zaylor, the leader of the council, looked at Davis with deep concern. His voice was low and serious. "This power, it is beyond anything we have ever known. It could change the balance of the galaxy." Captain Davis nodded. "Indeed. But we do not use it recklessly. Humanity seeks peace, not domination. We only wanted to show you that we are not as weak as you think. We can defend ourselves if necessary, but we prefer cooperation over conflict." The chamber was silent as the council members processed what they had just witnessed. Some were terrified, while others were in awe of the humans' power. The ability to control time. Such a thing had never been imagined. And now, the humans had shown that they possessed it. Captain Davis looked around the room, his calm expression never wavering. "This is what we offer," he said. "A future where time is on our side. But we will not abuse this power. We ask only for peace and understanding." The council members were left speechless. They had come to the meeting expecting to learn more about humans, but what they had discovered was far beyond anything they could have imagined. The chamber of the Galactic Council was filled with a heavy silence. After Captain Mark Davis demonstrated the power to control time, the air felt thick with tension. Council members exchanged glances, their eyes wide with disbelief and fear. The reality of what they had just witnessed began to sink in. Humans were not just a young species, they were a formidable force. Torak, the large insect-like member, was the first to break the silence. His many eyes blinked rapidly as he struggled to process the demonstration. "This cannot be real," he said, shaking his head. "No species should have the ability to manipulate time. It is unnatural. This is a threat to everything we know." Vela, the small bird-like alien, flapped her wings nervously. "But they say they want peace," she argued, her voice trembling. "Maybe they are telling the truth. We cannot judge them solely based on this power." Torak scoffed, his voice sharp. "Peace? How can we trust a species that can freeze us in time? They could wipe us out before we even knew what happened." Zalor, the wise leader of the council, raised his hand to calm the growing panic. "Everyone, please," he said, his voice steady but firm. "We must think clearly. Yes, what we have seen today is frightening, but we cannot let fear cloud our judgment. We need to understand the implications of this power. But what if they decide to use it against us?" Torak pressed, his voice filled with anger. "They could erase us from existence. The council must take action before it's too late." Cyrus, the ancient member with glowing eyes, spoke up, his tone calm and measured. "We cannot make decisions based on fear alone. We must gather more information. Perhaps we can learn how they control this power and whether it can be a force for good or evil. The council members began to argue, their voices rising as fear and uncertainty filled the room. Some wanted to confront the humans, while others believed it was better to approach them with caution. The debate grew heated, and it was clear that the council was divided. Meanwhile, Captain Davis and the human delegation stood quietly, watching the council's reaction. They knew that their demonstration had left a strong impression, but they had not expected such fear and hostility. Finally, Zalor slammed his fist on the table to regain control. "Enough!" he shouted. "We will not let fear dictate our actions. We need to decide how to move forward. We must invite the humans to continue this discussion, to explore what cooperation could mean." "Cooperation?" Torak spat. "You can't be serious! How can we work with them when they hold such a dangerous power?" "We need to understand them first," Zalor replied, his voice firm. "If we approach them with hostility, we may provoke them. They have shown us something extraordinary, and we owe it to ourselves to learn more before jumping to conclusions." Slowly, the room began to settle as council members considered Zalor's words. Though fear still lingered, many recognized the importance of understanding this new threat, or potential ally. After a moment of silence, Vela spoke up again. "What if we asked them to teach us? If they are willing to share their knowledge about time manipulation, we might find a way to work together. It could lead to peace." Cyrus nodded thoughtfully. "That is a wise suggestion, Vela. Knowledge is power, and understanding can bridge the gap between us." With some reluctance, the council members began to agree with the idea of inviting the humans to teach them. It was a risky move, but perhaps the only way to ensure their own survival and to understand this new reality. Zalor turned to Captain Davis, his expression serious. "We would like to invite you to stay and continue discussions with us. We want to learn more about your abilities and how they can be used for the good of the galaxy." Captain Davis nodded, his calm demeanor unchanged. "We appreciate your willingness to understand. We believe that knowledge should be shared, and we are here to help." As the meeting continued, the atmosphere began to shift. Though fear still hung in the air, there was also a sense of hope. The council recognized that working with the humans could lead to a brighter future. However, deep down, they also understood that they were walking a dangerous path. What they didn't realize was that humanity's mastery over time was just the beginning. There were deeper secrets and hidden abilities that humans had yet to reveal, and the council would soon learn that trusting the humans might be the greatest gamble of their lives. The Galactic Council chamber buzzed with nervous energy. After much debate, the council had decided to invite Captain Mark Davis and his human delegation to stay for further discussions. The mood was still tense, as fear and curiosity mingled in the air. The council members were eager to learn more about the humans' extraordinary abilities, but they were also cautious about the potential dangers. Captain Davis stood at the center of the room, flanked by his team. The humans appeared calm and collected, a stark contrast to the anxious aliens surrounding them. As the discussions continued, it became clear that the council wanted answers, not just about time manipulation, but also about humanity itself. Zalor, the leader of the council, took a deep breath and addressed Captain Davis again. "We appreciate your willingness to share your knowledge with us, but we must understand your species better. What else should we know about humans?" Davis nodded, his expression serious. "Thank you for your interest, Zalor. There is much to discuss, but I must warn you. Humanity has faced many challenges, some of which have brought us to the brink of destruction. We are not perfect, and our history is filled with both triumph and tragedy." Vela, the small bird-like alien, leaned forward, her eyes wide with interest. "What do you mean? What kind of challenges?" "Humanity has faced wars, natural disasters, and even conflicts among ourselves," Davis explained. "Our greatest enemy is often our own nature. We can be violent, selfish, and destructive, but we also have the capacity for great compassion, creativity, and resilience. We have learned from our mistakes, and we strive to be better." Torak, the large insect-like member, frowned. "If you have such a dark history, how can we trust you? You could easily turn against us, especially with the power you hold." Davis met Torak's gaze firmly. "You're right to question us. Trust is not given freely, it must be earned. That is why we are here, to show you that we seek cooperation, not conflict. But we also want to warn you about potential threats." The council members exchanged worried glances. sensing the seriousness in Davis's tone. "What threats?" Zalor asked, his voice steady despite his growing concern. Davis took a moment to collect his thoughts before speaking. "There are other species in the galaxy who may not share our desire for peace. Some may see your council as weak and will take advantage of that. There are factions who thrive on chaos and destruction. They may come to test you to see if you will defend yourselves." Cyrus, the ancient council member, looked thoughtful. "Are you saying we should prepare for war?" "I am saying that we should be vigilant," Davis replied. "If we want to create a better future, we must also be ready to defend it. Unity is our strength, and together we can face any threat that comes our way. But it requires trust and understanding among us all." Torak remained skeptical. "And how can we trust that you won't use your power against us? If you can manipulate time, what's to stop you from erasing us from history?" Davis took a deep breath. "I understand your fear, Torak, but our power is not something we take lightly. We know the consequences of misusing it. Humanity's goal is to protect, not to harm. We believe that through cooperation, we can create a stronger alliance. But if threatened, we will not stand idle." Zalor nodded, trying to calm the room. "It is clear that we face many unknowns. We must take your warnings seriously and prepare ourselves. But we will also approach this with an open mind. Cooperation may lead us to new strengths." The chamber grew quiet as the council members considered Davis's words. The gravity of the situation settled on them, and they began to realize the importance of the alliance with the humans. Finally, Vela spoke up again, her voice a mix of hope and concern. "If we are to work together, we must find common ground. Let us focus on sharing knowledge and strategies. Together, we can build a defense against any threat." Captain Davis smiled slightly, appreciating the shift in tone. "That is a wise approach. Together, we can achieve great things. Our strengths combined could create a force that no enemy would dare challenge." As the discussions continued, the council members began to see the humans in a new light. The fear that once filled the chamber began to fade, replaced by a cautious hope. They were still wary, but the idea of working together held promise. Unbeknownst to them, the challenges ahead would test their newfound alliance. The galaxy was vast and filled with dangers, and the council would need every ounce of courage and cooperation they could muster. The humans were not just a new ally, they were a warning of the trials yet to come. With a shared commitment to peace and understanding, the council and the humans took their first steps toward a future that was uncertain but filled with potential.